Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my life to Lucian the Divine. The war changed everything. He sent me to save the elves I grew up amongst. I arrived too late. Lucian ordered the use of Death Fog against the Black Ring, annihilating everyone I once knew in the process. Now I'm a mercenary killer, one of the infamous Lone Wolves. And my next target is none other than Lucian's own son.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now, no need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
The things I do to complete a contract. Nice haircut, Smiley. As soon as we get to Fort Joy, it'll be time to have words with this Boris fellow. Well, that explains the smell anyway.
Let me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think. Suit yourself. But we're all in the same boat here, so to speak. I'll await your return.
I need to get clever with this lock.
Before you can even touch the lever, you hear a sniff and snort behind you as the snoring Magister mumbles himself awake. One bloodshot eye opens, and then another.
Is my shift over? You here to relieve me? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy scrounger? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. Those idiots can't even walk straight without mucking it up. Was it Rix? I bet it was Rix. Can't just leave the prisoner alone, though. I heard he might be the one causing trouble upstairs. If it's all the same, I think it's best he comes with me. Some offense intended. You hear that, Emoire? We're taking a walk. Hurry it up, sorcerer. We haven't got all day.
That's one problem solved. A dead Magister.
So much
Somebody
for
will
a
have to
peaceful
take
stroll.
the blame for this, and it won't be me.
Okie dokie. No problem. Junk.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
She frowns and peers at you closely, resting the back of one hand on your forehead and taking your pulse with the other.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those source spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
I'll need to write to headquarters right away.
Bloody murder. Looks like someone's hit the Hall of Echoes a little early.
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
A young Magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. I thought as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that?
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. As everyone lay sleeping, it seems you and another elf engaged in an action somewhat similar to the one I just performed. Only rather more vigorously. Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
The Magister starts, recognition growing on his face as he looks right at you.
You look just like...
The Magister's face turns white. He makes a move to step backwards, then stops himself as his hand closes on the weapon at his hip.
It is you. Ifan Ben Mesd. I remember you. You were my captain's commander way back in the war.
The Magister's eyes darken. His face closes over into a cold mask.
I always knew you'd end up down low. Lower even than us nobodies in the rank and file. The higher the climb, the louder the splat when you fall. In Fort Joy, you're about to fall further than you thought possible. And I'll be listening for the splat. Happy landings.
I'll tell you if you can be quiet long enough for me to listen.
Good find.
I've nothing to hide.
Seems to me you should be a little more afraid. There's a killer about, after all.
Till overboiling a bit of cabbage becomes a crime, I shall hold my head steady.
Keep those bolts trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
I know you. You see me, man?
village officer. What on earth is the matter?
Murder most foul, and I strongly suspect you know all about it.
Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that? The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And? Then you're not listening hard enough, mate. Go on. There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. Ah, so you've eyes as well as ears, eh? You'll go far, mate, even here. No indeed, boy. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
You one of them? A Divine Order loyal? They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake.
Name?
Was one of them.
Well, you aren't here on my list. Scram, mate. We're trying to catch a killer here.
We're like cattle to them.
You! Sorcerer! Blood?
No.
Go! Oof.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to...
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You presume right.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
That's enough now.
It was one of them. I know it.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
I'm inspecting your teeth, in case that wasn't spectacularly obvious. There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook? Oh, goodness, no. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor? Yes, I can tell from your vagabond chic, a bag is as good as a shirt kind of style. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. Just as I thought. That explains what's besieging my nostrils. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you have the taste buds of a dung beetle, the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit, and your personal hygiene reminds one of a carcass rotting in the sun. That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry. I know, but you just don't have what it takes. A good slave's made of sterner stuff, I'm afraid. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a lesser household than mine. You keep dreaming, you hear?
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them. Murder most foul.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
No. Insufferable, surely.
What are you trying to hear, anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and takes your hand, turning it this way and that, examining it from every angle. Finally, he pinches your skin, gently tugging at it.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
Oh no, my instinct to survive is quite strong, as with all mortals. I'm not sure why you would... Oh dear. I seem to have crossed some cultural taboo. How... difficult. You have my apologies, human. Perhaps I should demand the same from those red-cloaked humans. They laid their hands on me more than once. Ah, yes. The niceties. My name is Fane. I am a scholar from... well, I am a seeker of knowledge. That is enough. It is pleasurable to meet you. Hardly. I've been reading this one for several minutes, and I have yet to find a single insight into the mysteries of the universe. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind?
The elf's face freezes for just a second before he waves his hand dismissively.
Oh, it's just one of my idle curiosities. We mortals do like to consider these things, do we not? Now, please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
Carrying on.
It's a register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far? Course I do. Seems Voidwoe can dog your heels like a shadow. That's no way to live, is it? You'll see. We're gonna help you. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Keep with those bolts trained on her. And if she tries to keep with those bolts trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
What on earth is the matter? You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter?
Most foul. Murder most foul. And I strongly suspect you know all about it.
Well, perhaps. Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
How dare you classify this slop as food?
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
You there, sorcerer! Go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
Oh! What? What happened? Must have been the turnips. Water? Wine, for goodness sake! Oh!
The lizard's eyes close as he slips into unconsciousness.
No, not the final dark. Not yet.
It's no use. Your words do not seem to reach her.
the dice roll darkly. They're rolling for me.
The young woman lies in a heap on the floor. She's breathing normally, but her eyes are wide open, like those of a corpse. Dark, greyish-black clouds swirl through them.
No.
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound. The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stock still. You can't see if he's living or dead. You hear a faint thud, thud, thud. He's alive, but only just.
Gods damn it. Need to get off this wreck. Quick. Damn. That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards.
Thank the gods! Like a fine grace, what was...
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his blade.
Another sorcerer!
The Magister's companion doesn't blink, frozen in place at the sight of you.
Like you don't know? Mutiny! Did that witch fix your collar too?
He whispers loudly to the other Magister.
Don't just cower there, Rix! Take out your blade!
Rix grabs his sword, which shakes in the rhythm of his trembling hand. The Magisters look to each other, then back to you, and unsheath their blades with a metallic zing.
Your lies end here! Get him!
thought Rivellon was flat. The hound paws desperately at its snout. It winces as it draws blood from its wet black nose and continues scratching.
Sorcerer!
It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose once more.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much. Too much. Please make it stop.
The dog whines and continues pawing at its nose.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters.
Through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed, just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book.
Something's pounding on the hull!
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. The wood feels neither cold nor warm, but simply grey. The color drains from your hand, and you are left numb. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Death fog! I need to get out of here now!
Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
Voidwoken! Useless bugs would sink the ship on my watch.
They who are about to try this.
I thought Voidwoken was supposed to be scary. Let the games begin.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan. The one who put on this damn collar.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. Magister Siwan's mouth opens and closes, her eyes wide in terror. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. Siwan clutches your arm, her eyes locked with yours. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan, then cracks.
It's ripping the ship.
This is it. She's going.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
So the Order's right about one thing. We attract Voidwoken. Am I the lone survivor? Only one way to find out.